The rise and fall of One Direction is a saga that has captured the world's attention, filled with musical talent, meteoric fame, and surprisingly, behind-the-scenes intrigue. What many fans are unaware of is that behind the perfect harmonies and synchronized choreography, a web of events unfolded, culminating in a betrayal that would shake the structures of the most famous boy band of the 2010s. It all started in 2010, when five young talents, Harry Styles, Niall Horan, Payne, Louis Tomlinson, and Zayn Malik, performed as solo artists on the British television show The X Factor. Fate, or rather, the astute vision of Judge Nicole Scherzinger, brought these boys together in a group that promised to revolutionize the music scene. Little did they know that they were about to embark on a journey that would take them to the top of the global charts and, subsequently, an abrupt and controversial end. One Direction quickly became a global phenomenon. His first singles, such as What Makes You Beautiful and Live While We're Young, dominated radio and digital platforms. Albums like Up All Night and Take Me Home solidified their position as 21st-century pop icons. The five boys seemed inseparable, united by a bond that transcended a simple professional partnership. Interviews and public appearances showed them as best friends, brothers united by destiny and music. However, behind the scenes, tensions were beginning to build. The pressure of fame, incessant touring, and the demands of the music industry began to weigh heavily on young shoulders. Rumors of internal disagreements began to circulate, but were promptly denied by the management team and the group members themselves. The image of unity was crucial to the band's continued success, and any signs of discord were quickly squelched. The year 2015 would mark the beginning of the end for One Direction as the world knew it. In March of that year, Zayn Malik, often described as the group's mysterious bad boy, announced his departure. The news fell like a bomb among fans and the music industry. The official reasons cited Malik's desire to lead a normal life out of the spotlight, but behind the scenes told a different story. Sources close to the band revealed that Zayn had felt increasingly alienated within the group. Their musical style, more focused on R&B, often conflicted with the pop direction adopted by One Direction. Additionally, rumors of tensions with other members, particularly Louis Tomlinson, began to gain traction. The last straw would have been a series of creative disagreements during the production of the album 4, released in 2014. Zayn's departure was just the prelude to a series of events that would lead to the band's complete dissolution. The four remaining members attempted to maintain unity, releasing the album Made in the AM as recently as 2015. However, it was clear that the group's dynamics had changed irrevocably. Interviews from the time show a visibly tense quartet with rehearsed answers about their future together. The real blow, however, would come from an unexpected source. Simon Cowell, the music mogul behind the Cowell, recognized for his sharp business acumen, had realized that the One Direction phenomenon was reaching its peak. With Zayn's departure and growing signs of fatigue among the remaining members, he began planning his next move. Your strategy? Capitalizing on the members' solo careers before the group completely lost its commercial appeal. Leaked internal documents later revealed that months before the band's official hiatus was announced, Cowell was already in advanced negotiations with record labels and producers to launch Harry Styles as a solo artist. This behind-the-scenes movement not only undermined the group's unity, but also placed Harry in a privileged position in relation to his bandmates. The preference for Styles was not a well-kept secret within the industry. His natural charisma, audience appeal, and vocal versatility made him the ideal candidate for a successful solo career. However, the way this transition was handled left a bitter taste in the mouths of the other members and the most attentive fans. Meanwhile, Louis Tomlinson and Payne, who had been instrumental in writing many of One Direction's hit songs, found themselves relatively marginalized in this new landscape. Niall Horan, in turn, seemed to be in an intermediate position, with plans for a more discreet but equally promising solo career. The official announcement of One Direction's hiatus came in August 2015, just a few months after Zayn's departure. The band stated that it was a temporary break, an opportunity for each member to explore individual projects. However, behind the scenes, told a story of disunity, resentment, and conflicting ambitions. Cowell's betrayal, as many fans characterized it, wasn't just limited to favoring Harry Styles. He was also accused of manipulating the public narrative surrounding the band's hiatus. While the members of One Direction were talking about a temporary break, Cowell was already planting the seeds in the media about the potential of solo careers, effectively sealing the group's fate. The consequences of this behind-the-scenes movement were profound and lasting. Harry Styles predictably has launched an extremely successful solo career, with his self-titled debut album receiving critical and commercial acclaim. His single, Sign of the Times, became an instant anthem, firmly establishing him as a star in his own right. Niall Horan followed a more folk-pop path, releasing hits like This Town and Slow Hands. His softer, more introspective approach won him a loyal following, although not as massive as Styles's. Payne and Louis Tomlinson, on the other hand, faced greater challenges in their solo careers. Both experimented with different musical styles, from pop to EDM, but it took them longer to find their individual artistic identities. This led to speculation about whether Cowell's strategy had effectively harmed his chances of long-term success. Zayn Malik, the first to leave the group, released his solo album Mind of Mine in 2016, with the hit Pillow Talk reaching the top of the charts. However, his subsequent career was marked by ups and downs, with concert cancellations and personal controversies overshadowing his undeniable musical talent. As the years passed, it became increasingly clear that One Direction, as an entity, was a thing of the past. Promises of a future meeting became increasingly vague and unlikely. One-on-one interviews with former members revealed a mix of nostalgia, regret, and, in some cases, a certain bitterness about how things had turned out. The impact of this dissolution was not limited to just the band members. The pop music industry as a whole felt the vacuum left by One Direction. Subsequent boy bands have struggled to achieve the same level of global success, indicating that One Direction may have been the last major such phenomenon in an era dominated by solo artists and short-lived collaborations. Fans, known as Directioners, were also deeply affected. Many felt betrayed not only by Simon Cowell and the industry, but also by the band members themselves. The promise of a temporary hiatus, which never materialized into a reunion, left a sense of unresolved grief among the fan base. Years after One Direction officially disbanded, documentaries and books began to emerge, offering new perspectives on what really happened behind the scenes. Former employees, producers, and even family members of the band members shared stories that painted a complex picture of ambition, pressure, and ultimately, the dissolution of friendships that seemed indestructible. One of the most intriguing aspects of these revelations was the role of social media in the band's internal dynamics. One Direction was one of the first boy bands to come of age in the age of social media, and this had a significant impact on how the members related to each other and their fans. The constant exposure and pressure to maintain a perfect public image contributed to the deterioration of personal relationships within the group. Furthermore, the veiled competition for followers and engagement on social media created a dynamic of rivalry that did not exist before. Every post, every online interaction was meticulously analyzed by fans, creating narratives and theories that were often far from reality, but that inevitably affected the group. The issue of mental health also emerged as a crucial factor in One Direction's dissolution. In later interviews, all members spoke openly about the psychological challenges they faced during the band's peak years. The constant pressure, lack of privacy, and overwhelming expectations have led to issues with anxiety, depression, and in some cases substance use as a coping mechanism. This revelation shed new light on the betrayal behind the scenes. Was Simon Cowell's decision to focus on solo careers really a betrayal, or a necessary response to an untenable situation? Some argue that by easing the transition to solo careers, Cowell may have inadvertently saved the members of One Direction from an even more dramatic public meltdown. However, the way this transition was handled remains a point of controversy. The lack of transparency, secret negotiations, and unequal treatment of band members left emotional scars that persist to this day. In recent interviews, Louis Tomlinson and Payne in particular have expressed frustration with the way the band's demise was handled, feeling that they were left adrift while others, notably Harry Styles, received substantial support for their solo careers. One Direction's legacy, therefore, is complicated. On the one hand, they left an indelible mark on pop music, influencing a generation of artists and redefining what it means to be a boy band in the 21st century. His hits continue to be played and loved, and his influence on pop culture is undeniable. On the other hand, her story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of early fame, the relentless pressure of the entertainment industry, and the complexities of maintaining authentic relationships under the constant public gaze. The behind-the-scenes betrayal that led to the demise of One Direction was not a single dramatic act, but a series of decisions, actions, and omissions that, collectively, undermined the group's foundations. Looking ahead, the possibility of a One Direction reunion continues to be a topic of speculation among fans and media. While some members have expressed openness to the idea, others appear to have definitely moved forward. The question remains, if a reunion were to happen, would it be a genuine celebration of his legacy, or just another calculated industry move? The One Direction case raises important questions about the nature of fame, loyalty, and authenticity in the modern music industry. How can we balance commercial demands with artists' well-being? Is it possible to maintain artistic and personal integrity in the face of relentless pressure for success and relevance? As new generations of artists emerge, inspired by One Direction's success and cautioned by One Direction's mistakes, perhaps we can look forward to a more conscious and ethical industry, an industry that values not only talent and commercial potential, but also the mental health and personal growth of its artists. The story of One Direction, with all its glories and tragedies, remains a fascinating chapter in pop music history. She reminds us that behind the stage lights and the hits we sing, there are human beings navigating incredibly turbulent waters. The betrayal that ended One Direction's era may have been the end of a dream for many, but it was also the beginning of individual journeys of self-discovery and growth for its members. As the final chords of that era resonate, one thing is certain: One Direction's impact on music and pop culture will continue to be felt for years to come. Their music, their stories, and even their controversies will continue to be analyzed, celebrated, and debated. And who knows, perhaps one day when time has healed old wounds and lessons have been learned, we will see the five boys together again on stage, not as a recreation of the past, but as a celebration of everything they have lived through and overcome. Until then, the One Direction saga remains a testament to the complexity of fame, the fragility of human relationships under extreme pressure, and the enduring power of music to bring people together, even when those who create it grow apart. It's a story of meteoric rise, dramatic fall, and ultimately individual resilience, a microcosm of the entertainment industry's ups and downs, and a reminder that, at the end of the day, it's human connections that truly matter, far beyond contracts, album sales, and sensational headlines.